Okay, today's going to be romantic tips, part 2. Now, some of these tips aren't going to seem very romantic. They sound kind of more like marriage tips, and I don't mean to act like I have the perfect marriage or I'm the perfect wife. I'm so not. But a lot of these tips I've incorporated into my life over the past years, and they've made all the difference in the world in just the peace and happiness of our home, which I think in turn can lead to more romance. The first thing I'm going to talk about is your attitude. What is your attitude towards your husband? Do you treat him with respect? Do you listen? This is a really hard one for me. I talk a million miles an hour faster than my husband, and so I tended to talk over him all the time. And when I really started thinking about that and treating him with more respect and like his opinion mattered a lot more, oh my gosh, he has the best ideas. He's so smart. He's super intelligent. He's way smarter than me, but I was talking so much and I can think so fast that I thought I was the smart one in the group. No, not true. And when you treat him with more respect, it just goes a long way in him feeling good about himself. Another thing I want to talk about is your focus. What are you focusing on in your marriage? Are you focusing on the bad parts? Or are you focusing on the good parts? If you focus on the bad parts are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the good parts are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that you don't think there's anything good anymore. But if you focus on the good things and all the sweet things he does for you, probably with most of the time you don't even notice them, like taking out the garbage and all those kinds of things. Focus on the good things he does, and you'll just be happier and happier and happier, and all the bad things will float away. Because if I thought my husband sat around and focused on the bad things about me, I would die. But I just don't think men are like that. Men are just so easy to please if you just treat them with respect and listen to what they're saying and feed them, and I don't know. It's not that hard. This is a big one, and I've heard this my whole life. It's when women get together and they talk about their husbands negatively. I really, really hate that. Now, I don't think I was real guilty of that, but I remember when I made a conscious decision that I will not talk ugly about my husband no matter what he's done. Now, if you're having a big marital issue, go and talk to one person, a very, very trusted person, friend, counselor, whatever. But don't air it in a group of women. It's just ugly. It's not pretty. It makes you look stupid. Even if they're all going along with it, it's just not good. Would you want your husband to do that to you? I don't think men sit around like a beehive and talk about their wives like that. I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe they do, but I would be surprised. I would love to be a fly on the wall, though, once if I thought they were doing that, but maybe not. Maybe I don't want to hear it. Anyway. Don't talk about your husband behind his back. Period. Don't do it. A lot of people think I have the perfect husband. And the reason they think that is because I don't talk about him badly. And he is pretty near perfect. So is my son-in-law. I never, ever say a negative word about my son-in-law to anyone. Number one, he's awesome and wonderful. But I just wouldn't do that. And I hear women doing that. They talk about their son-in-law. They talk about their daughter-in-law. They talk negatively about these people. And it's not good. So, your attitude, your focus, and the way you speak about your husband will go a long way. Okay, now to the romantic stuff, more or less. Your appearance. Now, most of you that are watching YouTube and watching beauty channels and stuff, I'm sure you look great because you're making an effort to look good. But I've seen a lot of women that said they just don't have time, they can't do this, they can't do that. You know what? I've had 3 little kids in the house before. I understand there's not a lot of time, but I think that brushing your hair, looking decent when he walks in the door is very, very important and shows that you care and shows that you love him. Because you know the old saying that the man's in the office with all these cute secretaries and everything, and then he comes home to the old hag. I don't know about that, but I'm just saying make an effort because there's a lot of women out there making an effort, and you make an effort when you go to church or when you go to the store, when you go shopping. So make an effort for your husband as well. Your home. Now, I do not work outside the home. Even when I had little kids, I had little kids in the home, and that was my job. That's the decision that my husband and I made when we got married. So I know that there are times when you have little kids, things are just crazy, chaotic, wild. You're just exhausted when your husband walks in the door. I totally get that. I've been there. But I remember years and years ago, even when I was in the middle of all this, I started making more of an effort to have the house straight when he walked in. I would go around 15 minutes, about 4:35 in the afternoon. I would go around, I would pick up all the toys, straighten everything up, make sure I had made our bed, because sometimes I would leave my bedroom and never go back till that night, and then you get home to an unmade bed, and that's just awful. So make your bed, straighten up, pretend, if you haven't even started cooking dinner, pretend that you have a plan when he walks in. You know, at least have something on the stove, even if it's boiling water. He'll feel a lot better, even if dinner's 2 hours away. He knows that you thought about it. So turn the TV off. If the TV's been on, your kid's been watching cartoons, turn the TV off. Turn on some music. Even if he's going to turn the TV right back on, when he walks in, if he hears soft music, there's a candle lit, even if it's just a candle in the kitchen, it just makes so much of a difference. And it will also, if you do have a bunch of little kids in your house, it will bring the demeanor of everybody down to a peaceful level, and it will just make so much difference. Now, these things that I've spoken to you about today are not necessarily romantic tips, but I think so much of romance is just setting a scene, a peaceful, nice scene. I think so much of a happy marriage as well is just being present in the life situation that you find yourself in and figuring out ways, little ways to do something that makes it better. Think about what you're doing. Be deliberate. Be deliberate about picking up the house. Be deliberate about going in there and putting on some lip gloss or something. You know, think about what you're doing. I think so much of life we just float along and we get in these ruts and in these attitudes and in these, they're just the way we are, and we just don't even realize we're in a rut, except that we just know we're not happy and something's not right and things are just yuck. So be deliberate. Think about what you're doing. Make an effort towards your husband, and I guarantee you your whole marriage and probably your whole life will get better. Now, obviously these tips are for marriages that are just regular run-of-the-mill marriages that aren't having any big issues. If you're having a big issue, like I say, go talk to someone. But this is just if you're just in a happy marriage, but you want it to be a lot better, I think these tips might go a long way. Thanks. Bye-bye.